I had liked my childhood friend, Mia, for 6 years, but she was in love with my roommate, Mark. I had to be her supportive friend, listening to her gush about him, while Mark would warn me, "Leo, don't fall for me, all right?" At a party, she told him her feelings in front of everyone. Mark glanced at me with a smug look and said, "I don't date people who can't keep things clear with other guys." Everyone's eyes turned to me, their stares feeling like needles. Mia tried to explain. "Leo and I are just..." But I held up my hand, showing a couple's ring. I smiled and said, "I already have a girlfriend." Mark was out clubbing that night. I saw his new post from 3 minutes ago. In the bar's hazy light, he stood out, surrounded by people. Mia, meanwhile, sat on a bench by the lake, looking as downcast as an abandoned puppy. She had asked him out, and he didn't agree. Then at night, she saw his new post. The man-made lake was chilly, and couples walked by every now and then. I looked at Mia, annoyed. "So, is this why you dragged me out of the library?" Mia looked up. She had grown into a pretty girl with big, innocent eyes and delicate features, a mix of charm and loyalty. For 20 years, she had only ever fallen for Mark. Her eyes were red as she hugged me pitifully. Leo, I know you're the best to me. With our years of friendship, you'll help me, right?" I stiffened, but Mia, completely oblivious, snuggled closer like a puppy. "Please, Leo?" I pushed her away. "Quit being so touchy." Mia blinked, looking innocent with her doe eyes. We were friends forever. Damn friendship. I had bad intentions. Even rabbits don't eat the grass at their own door, but I fell for my childhood friend. Mia and I have known each other since we were kids, always together. She stuck to me, and I stuck to her. As we grew up, she blossomed into a pretty girl, attracting plenty of admirers at school. Mia seemed like she could have a whole team of boyfriends, yet she barely held hands with anyone but me. She always declined with a gentle smile. People thought she was pure, yet sometimes she said things that made you wonder. When I asked why she didn't accept any guy's confessions, Mia sipped her milk, her hand casually on my shoulder. The smell of her fresh shower gel, mixed with sweet strawberry milk, filled the air. She giggled. "They're not as good as you, Leo. If I have to like someone, it'd be you." I remember going red and trying to look calm, telling her to stop it. Inwardly, I felt like a fizzy Coke, ready to explode with happiness. I thought we had time. Time to stay by her side until she realized. Little did I know, she'd fall in love with Mark at first sight. "I get it," I said, interrupting my own thoughts. "I'll help you." Mia immediately smiled. "Leo, you're the best." I pushed her away. "It's getting late. I should head back to my dorm." "Okay," Mia let go obediently. "Be careful on your way back." The campus was much quieter at night than during the day. I walked slowly along the path, but was suddenly pulled into a corner. A cold, woody fragrance overwhelmed me. The mild warmth felt intimate late at night. Seeing a boyfriend cozy with his roommate's girl by the lake, "Leo, should I just post on the confession wall?" Chloe lazily asked. "Go ahead," I pulled her into an embrace. Chloe giggled, standing on tiptoe to kiss my cheek. "Nah, too attached to do that. So even if you're being unfaithful, I'll still acknowledge it." I pinched her waist. Dating Chloe happened by accident. She was always the school's talk, and we'd barely met a few times. Chloe's looks rivaled Mia's, but she always felt too casual, like a fox, full of allure yet seemingly indifferent, inviting without trying. Playing wingman for Mia, I set up a meeting with Mark. Young men and women, drinks and games. The atmosphere soon heated up. After a few drinks, I went to the bathroom to sober up. When I returned, the room was empty, and my stomach hurt. I squatted at the bar door, calling Mia 7 or 8 times. No answer. I messaged Mark, who quickly replied with a voice note. Drank too much, wanted barbecue. Mia took me. Sorry, forgot to tell you. His voice was nonchalant, and the background was filled with Mia's cheerful voice. Mark, I'm in line. I almost flung my phone in anger. Looking up, I saw Chloe leaning against the door, watching. Tall and elegant, looking down at me, her fox-like eyes curved. You're really good looking, Chloe grinned. Want a date? I probably was drunk because otherwise I'd have hit someone. Maybe it was the alcohol, maybe it was heartbreak, maybe Chloe was just pretty. I have someone I like. That's okay, she smiled, each word captivating. I don't mind. All right, I thought. Let's just have some fun. And then we played this game for 3 months, in a weirdly stable way. Despite the kisses and hugs, it wasn't real between us. Chloe liked my looks, but my heart was elsewhere. If we posted on the confession wall, we'd get 200 curses as the miserable player couple. I admit, I'm awful. The only thing in this world that can turn people into fools, that gains nothing, is love. But if it were so easy to let go, it wouldn't be love. Chloe walked me back to the dorm. I didn't refuse. She kissed my cheek. Got time tomorrow? I shook my head. Helping Mia as her wingman. Chloe's smile deepened. She pinched my cheek. You sure aren't afraid of me getting jealous? She leaned closer, making use of her height to add a touch of pressure, then nipped my cheek playfully. The day after. Smile. Deal. Sometimes I think Chloe and I are a strange pair. Not truly in love, yet in ways like any other couple that's in love. Because love isn't involved. We don't argue. It's weirdly steady. Mark hurried back just before the dorm lights went out at night. Glancing at the clothes hanging by my bed, he smirked. Going on a date? I put my phone down. Mia had sent a sad face emoji. With Mia, I corrected. Myself. Nah, with my girlfriend. Mark sneered slightly, not buying it. Free tomorrow? I replied to Mia. She mentioned this chic bar she found. Mark dropped his bag on the desk and looked at me with a mix of sarcasm and pity. You're pathetic, Leo. I swallowed my irritation. Playing wingman for my crush, getting mocked, yet holding it in. I even invented a girlfriend. I wonder if Mia knows. Mark's eyes squinted mischievously. He looked annoyingly charming even when he was being a jerk. Or is this your way to get her attention, Mark? I said with a cold tone. He chuckled. Just messing. No need to bite. I'll tag along. I gripped and then let go of my fist, pulled the bed curtain shut to block out his face. My phone buzzed with messages. I glanced at them. Mia. How'd it go? Is he back? Was today tiring? If he's tired, he doesn't have to come tomorrow, right? Did he agree? I replied, he agreed. The phone flooded with messages again. Really? I knew you're the best, Leo. I stared at the cute kitty emoji Mia sent. It was Mark's go-to emoji. I typed for a while, then deleted it all without responding. Outside, Mark's faint laughter mixed with his conversation. Who knows which new girl he was talking to? I took a deep breath, tossed the phone aside, and dove under the covers. Not the first time. Anyone could see Mark was just playing around with Mia. Especially me, the secretly in love. I tried to talk about it once, even though she might know. Saying it seemed like jealousy, so awkwardly I ended up only saying, maybe you're not his type. That was the first time I saw Mia with such a serious look. The sunset gilded her profile, warm yet oddly lonesome. "I know," she said. "I know Mark doesn't like me, and I know he's probably just teasing. But I like him. And I hope he could like me too. So I want to try harder. Until he likes me, or he directly rejects me. Pure, intense love." I knew I should have said something then, but it felt like those words stabbed my heart, leaving it shattered. My throat went dry, voiceless. So in the end, I could only say, "Good luck." Perhaps from that moment, I knew there'd never be anything between Mia and me. There was a fleeting moment of hatred in my heart. Hating her straightforwardness, hating her for loving so honestly, hating her for not giving me a chance. Hating my own cowardice, hating myself for loving yet never speaking out, while she dared to say it out loud. I only dared to tread on the boundary of friendship. We went to the bar, Mark and I. Since I wasn't the main character, I threw on a plain white tea and left. Mia had been waiting for a while. When we arrived, 2 guys were chatting her up. She smiled politely, waved them off, but her eyes lit up when Mark appeared. In an instant, she was by his side. "Mark, you're here!" Her gaze swept up and down, complimenting generously. "You look sharp in that suit." Mark returned the smile. I felt excluded from their flirty bubble, looking away, watching the 2 guys' retreating figures. Out of nowhere, Chloe popped into my mind. We'd occasionally date, usually at a gaming cafe, playing It Takes Two all day. When we were about to leave, I saw her outside the bathroom giving her number to someone. She leaned against the wall, glanced at him, chuckling. "All right." I waited a bit. Once they finished up and the guy left blushing, she came over. "Let's go." Chloe wrapped her arm around my waist, her fingers lingering teasingly. "How much did you hear?" "From when she asked for your number," I replied. "Am I about to be your ex?" Chloe laughed. "Not quite yet." By the elevator, I pressed the button. While waiting, Chloe stood behind me, her breath tickling my neck, sending a shiver down my spine. I tried to move away, but she pulled me closer. "I thought you'd be mad." Watching the numbers change, I said evenly, "You know I won't, Leo." Her distorted reflection on the door was a series of blurred colors. The elevator doors opened, cutting off her words. I didn't ask what she was going to say. All I remembered were those heavy, dark colors in that blur. Mia and Mark were deep in conversation. Sitting at the bar, a bit away from them, I mindlessly scrolled through my phone. Half an hour later, I excused myself to the restroom, leaving them alone. Washing my face, I decided to stay a while longer, like I had done so many times before. The hallway lights flickered, casting shadows. I lowered my gaze, remembering that time they ditched me. If it happened again, I'd get it. My expectations kept lowering, to the point where I held no hope for Mia. That's when the unexpected happened. A drunk woman staggered into me, her breath a mix of smoke and booze. "Alone?" Her sticky gaze was disgusting. "Can I buy you a drink?" I stepped back nonchalantly. "Sorry, my friends are waiting." She moved closer instead, grinning. "Just a quick meet." Suddenly, a greasy, overweight man appeared, grabbing my collar, his teeth yellow, accusing, "You're the lover she sees outside, shamelessly touching each other here." The woman, who'd been pretty drunk a second ago, suddenly sobered up a bit. She looked at the man next to her, panic all over her face, but didn't bother explaining. A cold sweat formed at the nape of my neck. I think I've been set up. But in that moment, I wasn't brave enough to start a fight with someone way bigger than me. Fear trickled down my spine as I tried to keep calm. Leo? When Mia's voice came from around the hallway corner, my fear and dependence peaked. I practically threw myself behind her, just like when I was a kid, chased 3 blocks by a stray dog. She appeared out of nowhere and stopped the dog. You should worry about your wife. She was just being handsy with my friend. We haven't even called the cops to charge you with harassment. The girl's voice turned ice cold in an instant, sharp like a sword. The man spat, dragged the woman away while cursing. Everything's fine, Mia said. Her hand hovered over my back, hesitating before she patted me gently. I'm here. Her comfort was reassuring, as always. My legs felt a bit weak, but my mind told me I needed to get out of there fast. I used the wall for support, trying to stand straight. What is going on here? Mark asked, standing about 10 feet away with his arms crossed, looking amused. Mia pushed me away like she'd been shocked. My body hit the wall, and I couldn't help but let out a soft grunt. Mark gave me a once-over, chuckled coldly, and then turned to leave. Mia took a couple of steps after him, then came back. Leo, head back to school. I need to explain things to Mark. I'll call the cops first. Can you stay with me until they arrive? I asked, trying to stay calm despite the whirlwind inside. Leo. Her voice was colder than ever, irritated. Mark needs me more. And what about me, Mia? Am I just supposed to be safe on my own? My rational side snapped in an instant. I wanted to grab her by the collar and ask her why. Even if she liked Mark, what about us? Our years of friendship, isn't that worth something? But looking into her eyes, all my questions got swallowed down. 20 years of memories felt like shards of glass rushing through my veins. Every breath was a struggle. I shut my eyes, blinked back tears. Go ahead. Mia gave me one last look, her voice barely audible. I'm sorry, Leo. I almost laughed. What are you apologizing for, Mia? Is it for our friendship? For leaving me behind? Or is it for pretending not to know my heart? All of a sudden, the noise around me faded. I forced down my emotions and calmly dialed the police. I went to the station to make a statement. Sitting on the cold bench in the police station, I stood up to leave. My phone buzzed with a message. It wasn't Mia. Leo, my roommate saw Mia with Mark at the school gate. Where are you? At the police station. The phone call came through immediately. Leo? Chloe's voice was a bit raspy. Send me your location. I sent her my location. 15 minutes later, Chloe rushed in, her hair blowing in the wind, a thin layer of sweat on her forehead. She got closer, turning me around for a once-over, then smiled. Not hurt? I looked up at her. Chloe lowered her eyes to meet mine. Her dark hair almost looked transparent under the streetlights. In her unsmiling silence, there was an unexplainable sense of sympathy. Chloe, I said, I don't want to be a doormat anymore. She burst out in a grin, her eyebrows arching. She pinched my cheek gently. Good. I started to distance myself from Mia. Well, more like not caring than distancing, I guess. You could say I'd still reply to texts, greet her when we met, but compared to 20 years of friendship, we started acting like so-so friends. But I guess she wouldn't care either. Mark still came back late, like always. Whether he was with Mia or someone else, I stopped caring. He tossed his bag on the table, his tone laid back. Mia, seems like she wants to confess. Really? I said, my voice indifferent, eyes never leaving my book. My phone buzzed with a message from Chloe. I took a look and replied. 8 already, Leo? Mark gave me a once-over. Is it you genuinely don't care, or are you just better at pretending than before? I glanced at him, my tone steady. Are you hoping to see me upset? Mark smirked, candidly malicious. Yep. I turned my eyes back to my book. Well, you're gonna be disappointed. When the dinner plan came through, I was in the middle of playing It Takes Two with Chloe. She leaned against me, almost boneless, her fingers moving swiftly on the controller while her character jumped around on the screen. I glanced at my phone. Got a dinner thing tonight. Got it, Chloe nodded. I'll pick you up after. The boss's health was low on the screen. I landed the final blow. Oh, by the way, Chloe set the controller down. I saw Mia bought flowers today. Her eyes shimmered, probing. Or maybe it was just a casual remark. Probably gonna confess, I said. When I arrived at the dinner, I was a bit late. The room was filled with familiar faces. Mia and Mark sat together. As I walked in, Mia spotted me. Her eyes lit up. Leo! I caught the flash of dark emotion passing through Mark's eyes. I just nodded, took a seat, and chatted with the friends nearby. I thought you weren't coming. I'm not letting anyone mess up my plans, I smiled. I have other friends to meet too. Mark chuckled, not denying. Hope you're not all talk. The lights dimmed for a second. The room's music turned to a soft love song. The dim light cast on Mark's face, announcing the main character of the night. I nudged aside and saw Mia holding a bouquet of red roses, her face flushed like white jade with a hint of pink, focused. Mark, I've liked you for a long time. Her voice was soft, yet firm. Will you give me a chance? Mark's gaze grazed her, then landed on me. Words almost gentle, yet cruel. I don't date people who are tangled with other guys. The room went silent. The eyes around us stabbed into me like needles. People started whispering. Oh, that's what it is. No wonder. So, Leo and Mia. Mia's face blanched, desperately spilling her truth to Mark. Leo and I are just... Meeting Mark's amused gaze, I laughed. I lifted my hand and the couple's ring glistened under the lights. No way, I said. I've had a girlfriend for a while now. The room went silent for a moment. Mia froze, her eyes on my ring. Mark looked at me with an odd expression. Girlfriend? You mean the one from your last date? He raised an eyebrow, his smile a little mocking. Mia snapped back to reality, her gaze darting back to me. She seemed to be assessing the situation. Leo, she said, you don't have to do this because of me. I chuckled. It's not about you. Mark let out a small laugh. Why don't you invite your girlfriend over then? We could all meet her. Sure, I said. She's actually on her way. Mia's eyes twinkled for a second. Leo. I didn't look at her. 15 minutes later, the door swung open. Chloe leaned casually against the doorframe, her eyes landing right on me. Leo, her voice was lazy. I'm here. The room buzzed with whispers. Mark went pale. You're Leo's girlfriend? Chloe gave him a sideways glance, nonchalantly. No doubt about it. Mia suddenly spoke up, fixating on Chloe's face, but her gaze kept flickering back to me. Since when? For months, Chloe replied, smiling as she took my hand. Funny enough, it's been since Leo introduced you guys. She pulled me in, wrapping an arm around my waist. Leo is nice, helped set you guys up. But someone's got to be immature and turn the tables, huh? Mark's face shifted between pale and flushed. Sorry, though. I've never seen Leo post about it online. Thought you guys would be more public, more open. Having an itch to snoop, Mark? Chloe teased, her hand lingering on my waist. Do we need to broadcast every moment for you? Or is it just you that loves putting your life on public display? Mia dropped the roses she was holding. Dark red petals shattered across the floor. She grabbed my hand, trying to pull me away. All those things you said, They're lies, right? Her grip hurt. I tried to back away, but in the blink of an eye, Chloe, usually so laid back, became fiercely protective. She seized Mia's wrist, her white-knuckled grip demanding. "Let go!" Mia winced in pain and released me. Chloe's fingers gently massaged my wrist. "Mia." Our matching couple rings captured the room's light, reflecting tiny sparks like two stars in dialogue. "Look closely. Leo is mine." Walking back to school with Chloe, our hands stayed intertwined, even in front of the dorm entrance. Under the streetlight, I looked at her. Her face glowed with a subtle blush from the recent excitement, resembling jade tinted with rouge. I touched her cheek, almost mesmerized. She held my hand against her face. "Caught you?" Chloe's eyes gleamed like scattered stars. "You put up a great fight." She hesitated, then laughed. "I thought you were going to confess to me." The warmth below my palm was something unreal, burning from the touch, straight to my heart. It felt like even my heartbeat couldn't handle the heat, and thumped a bit faster. Quiet moonlight bathed us. Maybe it was a perfect time for confessing. But I hesitated. My hand slipped from her cheek to rest over my heart. "I don't know. I'm sure I like you. Just like my heart raced near Mia before. But I can't tell if it's dependence on you or just adrenaline tonight. A confession right now feels like I just love the feeling of being protected, not necessarily you as a person. And that's unfair. But rest assured, whether or not I'm infatuated, I definitely like you and your personality. Even if we're not lovers, we're good friends. I know how we started off as a game, but now I really want to give this relationship a real shot." My heart raced, despite my mind remaining surprisingly calm. Yet a strange fear crept in, as if dreading her response. It made me feel unlike myself. I looked at Chloe, almost muttering, "Is that okay?" Chloe's eyes softened on mine, like a pool rippled by a breeze. She dipped her head and pressed a gentle kiss on my forehead, as light as a spring breeze. Her whispered words were soft and lingering. "Of course." In the following days, Mia kept messaging me, much like how she pursued Mark back then. "Leo, can we talk?" "Leo, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had a girlfriend. I just want to make sure you're truly happy." I didn't reply. My fingers hovered over the block button. I hesitated, mindful that I might bump into her dad during the holidays. In the end, I didn't block her. Chloe rested her chin on my shoulder, cuddling close. "Can I exercise my girlfriend rights?" "What rights?" I asked, puzzled. Chloe laughed, wrapping her waist. "The right to delete any girl bothering my boyfriend." I suspected Chloe might have some skin hunger. Ever since we agreed to take our relationship seriously, she's been more present in my life. She's all about the hugs and kisses, like she wants to carry me everywhere, turning me into her personal hug pillow. According to her, all couples in love act like this. And it made sense. If Chloe felt uneasy about Mia, I couldn't ignore it, especially considering I once liked Mia. Realizing this, it clicked for me. I hit the block button. Chloe leaned over, gave me a playful kiss, and handed me her phone. "Time to inspect mine. Spot any suspicious contacts?" I hesitated. "No need, I trust you." But Chloe unlocked her phone. "Password's your birthday. Check away. Contacts, chat history, browser history, shopping history, anything." Her warm breath tickled my ear with a hint of subtle suggestion. It seemed as if this moment had been anticipated for a long time. I casually scrolled through her chat history. Everything was pretty normal. There were some guys messaging her, hinting at wanting to meet. Chloe's standard reply: "I'm with my boyfriend, no time, sorry. I glanced up at her. If she's this upfront, why would I even need to check? Chloe's eyes lit up instantly, with a look almost as if asking for praise, like a puppy. My heart softened a bit, and I reached out to pat her head. "You're the best girlfriend in the world." A blush quickly spread across her ears. She buried her face in my neck and murmured after a while, "You too, Leo, is the best boyfriend in the world." After a moment, she added, "Mine." When I was heading back to the dorm, Chloe walked me downstairs. We lingered a bit before parting. Just as I was about to go upstairs, someone called me. Mia appeared out of nowhere. Her lashes were damp from the evening's humidity, casting a wandering gaze on my face, part fear, part shyness. "Leo, you blocked me." It was a statement. Mia lowered her head, like a child caught in the wrong. I glanced at her, speaking plainly, because my girlfriend wouldn't be happy. "Chloe?" Mia looked up abruptly, her voice tinged with irritation, but quickly retreating into a soft, kitten-like tone when our eyes met. "But we're friends. Not just friends, we're childhood pals, childhood sweethearts. We've only been together for 4 months, but us?" She looked at me directly, full of some stubborn determination. "We've known each other for nearly 20 years. I didn't respond right away. I just looked off into the distance. The sky was getting darker. A fine drizzle started to fall. The wind sent a chill across my face. "I've been thinking," I said. "Remember the day you took Mark to barbecue and left me alone at the bar? Not even a goodbye. We've known each other long enough that our lives intertwine. You know me as well as I know you. That wasn't something you'd do. I thought about it a long time and finally understood. You knew I liked you. You did it on purpose." Mia's face turned pale, as if drained of all energy. She moved her lips, seemingly trying to defend herself. But in the end, she couldn't say a word. "I get it. I can understand you not liking me, wanting to make me give up." My tone remained steady. "I get it, but it doesn't mean I forgive you. So that's that, Mia. That's the final say." Underlining 20 years of shared history. I acted like I didn't notice Mia's teary eyes or quivering lips. At 15, I watched fireworks with Mia. The dazzling display reflected in her eyes, but I only stared at her sparkling gaze. The sound of my heartbeat was deafening, almost louder than the exploding fireworks. Mia turned to me with a tiny reflection of me in her eyes. She said, "Leo, let's always be okay, even just as friends." I was happy. We probably never thought this would be our final outcome. Back at the dorm, Mark was already there, unusually silent. He just gave me a pale glance. I had no interest in deciphering the meaning behind that look, dropping my things and turning to wash up. When I got back, I found him staring at me. "Happy now?" I wiped the corners of my lips. "Happy with what? Come on, don't play dumb." Mark's gaze met mine without flinching, an edge of sarcasm lingering at the corners. "Seeing Chloe embarrass me and Mia begging you, it makes you feel good?" The short silence was suffocating. I focused on Mark's bitten, reddened lips, watching the fury in his eyes almost become tangible. "No, not happy." I met his gaze steadily. "You're neither my imaginary rival nor my opponent. Whether you end up well or not doesn't matter to me. Besides, you chose this path yourself." "Leo!" Mark stood abruptly, nails digging into his palms. "You think Chloe really likes you? A girl like her? She just wants what's new." "Mark," I interrupted calmly, "you can't even handle your own feelings. Who are you to judge others?" The air stilled just for a moment. Mark let out a cold laugh, slammed the door. His footsteps echoed as they faded down the hall. It was his anger letting loose. I glanced away. Chloe's text popped up at that moment. Want to check out the new cat cafe tomorrow? I curved my lips into a smile and replied, Sure. Mark toned it down quite a bit. Occasionally in the room, he'd look at me with those complicated eyes I didn't understand, nor did I really care to. Mia didn't end up with Mark. I heard while chatting with some friends, gossiping. One expressed, I heard Mark eventually said yes, but then Mia backed out. I really can't figure her out, how she could be so into someone. I just chuckled. People can be pretty strange. I didn't deliberately avoid Mia. Sometimes we'd cross paths on campus. We'd just nod a bit in acknowledgement before passing by. Out of the corner of my eye, I'd see her linger, as if waiting or hoping, but I never looked back. The next time I saw Mia was at our high school reunion. I got there early, catching up with some familiar faces. Chloe didn't join, but said she'd pick me up afterward. As soon as Mia arrived, she headed straight to me, and folks cleared a spot for her instinctively, just like in the cafeteria back then. She was always beside me. Her white shirt remained spotless, carrying the scent of orange blossom. So clean, just like before. I subtly shifted aside, continuing my chat with classmates. The slight movement, however, was caught by Mia, who, as if unfazed, picked up some shrimp from the table. Her fingers, oil-slicked and deft, seemed unconcerned. She placed the peeled shrimp in my bowl. Her actions natural and practiced, yet as she set them down, her fingertips shivered and her ears flushed red. An old classmate nearby teased, "You two still close as ever." Mia chuckled, not denying it, while pouring me a glass of juice. Don't say nonsense. I glanced back with a smile. The ring on my hand glittered for a moment. I have a girlfriend, I said. The room went quiet for a bit. The young guy sitting nearby froze for a second. His eyes got a little red, and his fingertips tightened on his glass, almost like he was punishing himself. His voice came out hoarse and hard to understand. Leo has a girlfriend. The tone was unclear. Mia lowered her gaze, staring at the water droplets on the glass like they were the most fascinating thing ever. The scent of orange blossoms mingled with the alcohol, slicing through her throat like a dull blade. She pulled on a facade of gentle warmth. Leo's girlfriend must be amazing. The atmosphere in the room seemed to return to normal. That's such a shame, the girl with the ponytail slapped the table. Back in high school, we bet you guys would end up together after graduation. Her words cut through the surface smoothness like a knife, exposing the tangled history beneath. Mia almost lost her composure. I laughed and steered the topic away. We were just good friends back then. By the way, about that camera you wanted to buy. I casually slid the bowl of shrimp back toward it. Mia! She got up suddenly, like she'd been pricked. I'm gonna hit the bathroom. The hallway corner was a little dim. Mia's face was half hidden in the shadows, stripped of her usual softness for the first time. A classmate coming out of the bathroom patted her on the shoulder, unaware. Why are you not going in? Mia was dazed for a second. Going now. The classmate chuckled. Can't believe Leo actually got a girlfriend. Thought you guys would finally make it official. Such a bummer. The regret in her voice nearly scorched Mia's heart to ashes. She almost echoed the sentiment, but swallowed her words the next moment, like swallowing a mouthful of glass shards. The past she shattered with her own hands. So how about you? Making any progress? The harsh lighting cast Mia's face into a bloodless pallor. She lifted her eyes to the fluorescent light until dark spots swam in her vision and tears surfaced. Still waiting. words left unspoken, waiting for someone who's never turning back. When Mia came back, she didn't sit next to me. It seemed she understood the space between us now. Still, she'd occasionally shoot me a look, one I sharpened into something I ignored. It rained when we were leaving. I stood under the awning, waiting to hear from Chloe. I said my goodbyes to classmates, and suddenly the scent of orange blossoms mixed with alcohol wrapped around me from behind. "Leo," the girl's slurred voice, toasted by strong liquor, was indistinguishable. She stumbled and grabbed my wrist. Rain sliced the world into blurred colors. Mia's hot breath grazed my ear. "When Chloe took you away that day, I called you a bunch of times. You didn't answer. I texted no reply. I waited downstairs at your dorm all night. Didn't know if you saw the messages and ignored them or really hadn't. All I saw were the lights in your dorm going off, one by one. But still, I didn't leave. Didn't want to see Chloe's face. I waited until morning, saw you come out. Wanted to talk, but hesitated. Didn't know what to say. In those few moments, Chloe showed up. I watched her walk over to you, saw your fingers intertwine, saw you leave together. I suddenly knew what it felt like to be left behind. Leo, I'm sorry. Sorry." "Mia," I pushed her back, suddenly unpeeled her fingers from my wrist, one by one, like picking off an old scab. "I don't need your late apologies or your feigned tenderness. I said leave it as it is. You understand?" I met her eyes, calm and steady. Mia broke, inch by inch, under my gaze, laughed mournfully, and pressed her nails into her palm. "Don't understand. I don't understand." Like a child throwing a tantrum. "Leo, you know what?" She lifted her eyes to mine, her gaze fractured and tears streaked. "When friends talked about your dates, I'd casually say, 'That's nice,' but secretly wished for anything to interrupt. When asked what Chloe's like, I'd smile and praise her kindness, but inside I cursed her with every ugly word. Chloe would say, 'You.' Guys were stable and I'd smile, 'Bless you too,' but felt like a rat in a sewer." Tears fell like shooting stars. "Hope she'd cheat, but dreaded you being hurt for real. I was wrong. Shouldn't have thought being friends lasts longer than lovers and dodged your feelings. Should have realized my feelings for you were beyond control before I hurt you. Leo." She raised her hand, aiming to touch me, only to stop inches away, tracing the shape of my face through the air. "Can we stay friends? Okay? At least," her trembling voice was drowned by the rain, "let me stay by your side." The no barely left my lips. Chloe's lazy voice, tinged with cold, cut through. "Need help calling the cops?" She stood with an umbrella at the steps, smirked against the rain curtain. "Mia, clinging to someone else's boyfriend in the pouring rain. What's this? Mark finally got tired of you being too clingy and dumped you?" Mia's posture faltered, eyes reddening deeply. She balled up her fists, spoke silently. "Chloe, what happens between Leo and me is none of your business." "None?" Chloe interrupted, laughing dryly, her expression still smiling, eyes icy cold. "You left him alone at the bar. Who was it then? Using Mark like a tool? Who was it then?" Her voice was like snow on ice fields, laced with biting winds. "Now trying to act all deep and passionate? Do you deserve it?" Somewhat angry, it seemed so. I held my tongue and moved under Chloe's umbrella. "Leo," Mia reached out, but her hand stopped in midair. I looked up and saw the dark colors swirling in Chloe's eyes, but when she met my gaze, they instantly faded, like the tide pulling back. Her voice softened immediately, too. "Let's go, Leo." I nodded and grabbed her other hand. That isn't holding the umbrella. Her hand gripped mine back, filled with an undeniable sense of ownership and safety. I didn't look back. I won't ever look back. We walked hand in hand back to the school in silence. Even though our hands are tightly entwined, neither of us said a word. I tried to find the right time to speak, but nothing came to mind. When we reached the school, the rain had lessened a bit. As we passed by an empty classroom building, I was suddenly pulled into a secluded corner. An arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me into a familiar, comforting scent. I instinctively looked up, but I was met with a kiss. Chloe's kiss was fierce and urgent, like a river bursting its banks during a stormy season. The rushing torrent surrounded me, almost consuming me. As our lips and teeth tangled, she bit my lower lip, only to gently lick the bleeding spot. The firm hold on the back of my head, I couldn't even think of escaping. All I could do was gasp for air. When we parted, our foreheads touched, and our breathing was noticeably clear in the night air. I took a deep breath. Chloe, what about me? Our foreheads still touching, she dropped her eyes, hiding all her emotions. But there's an almost undetectable tremor in her voice that gave everything away, like a caged beast. After tearing down her playful facade, there was raw, bleeding fear inside. My heart ached. I sighed softly, my voice gentler now, as I raised my hand to touch her face. What are you afraid of? Chloe suddenly relaxed, burying her face deeply into my neck. Her voice was muffled. Afraid you'll go soft. Afraid you'll look back. Afraid you'll realize I'm nothing compared to Mia and those 20 years of memories. There's a hint of self-mockery in her laughter. I feel like I'm stealing the right to even be jealous. She held my wrist, pressing it to her chest. Her heart beat powerfully, almost in sync with mine. She said, "This is about to explode." I pressed my fingertips a bit harder over her heart. Despite the dampness of her clothes from the rain, her heart felt as warm as cotton baked in the sun, incredibly soft. I cupped her face. Chloe, I said, deliberately, genuinely. I like you, unquestionably. Chloe's pupils contracted, as if surprised by unexpected fireworks. Her face, momentarily blank, had a touch of adorable confusion. I like you too, she urgently responded, like a believer offering her heart to a deity. Then she landed a softer than ever, almost reverent kiss on my lips. She said, "Always, and always will. The future is long, but we're serious about this." Chloe's diary. November 9th. I saw him playing wingman for Mia in the library again today. That idiot can't even tell Mark is stringing her along, but is getting more at ease ordering Leo around. I watched from behind a bookshelf as he stood there, holding coffee behind them. Fool. Couldn't you see she's doing it on purpose? At least don't let me see you wiping away tears in secret. Mia, what makes you think you're worthy? March. Found a rain-soaked kitten outside the bar. He was huddled there, dialing his phone, shivering like an abandoned stray. Honestly, I stood at the door watching him for a while. The moment he looked up, my mind went blank. Would you like to date? I asked, immediately wanting to smack myself. His eyelashes glistened. I like someone else. My heart clenched, but I forced a smile. I don't mind. He said, "Okay." He actually agreed. Back at the dorm, I couldn't stop smiling in front of the mirror for half an hour. Thought I'd confessed in a grand way, but ended up sounding like a rogue. Still, I was too happy to sleep, so I stared at photos of him on my phone for ages. March. Played It Takes Two with him online. It said that game could make even best buddies kiss. He maneuvered his character up and down, his smile turning his eyes into crescent moons. I deliberately messed up, and he'd pinch my waist, calling me a noob. The moment I touched his hand, I felt like I was about to have a heart attack. Mia is nothing. We're perfect for each other. April. Intentionally agreed to exchange contacts with someone who hit on me. Saw him from the corner of my eye, standing at the hallway. Corner. Not even his eyelashes flinched. Thought he'd rush over to question me. Instead, he just said coldly, "Let's go." Went back to the dorm, blocked the sophomore, and tossed my phone into a pillow. Are you made of stone? Or is Mia the only one who can stir your emotions? So what if you're childhood friends? I'll replace you one day. June 10th. Picked him up at the police station, standing alone under the streetlight, shadow casting long. Mia ditched him again. I'd love to strangle that jerk. He said he won't be a sycophant anymore, and I almost proposed on the spot. July. At a gathering, flashing the ring. Mark's face was as green as wilted lettuce. Mia's gaze on her was that of a stray dog, and I nearly laughed out loud from the thrill. I deliberately held him tighter, whispering in his ear, "Leo, you're mine." His ears turned red. He's so cute. My Leo. I want to repeat it in his ear over and over. July. We finished It Takes Two. He slumped in my arms, throwing the controller. Why can't Cody just smash the vacuum with a hammer? I held his waist and reread the transcript. Because they want us to hug longer. He blushed, but didn't deny it. Online wasn't lying. Game did build our bond. Next time, I'll bring him to play Overcooked, show him how stable my emotions are. July. During a reunion, when it rained, he stood under the eaves waiting for me, looking like a painting. Mia sidled up, pretending to be affectionate. I stood in the rain, clutching an umbrella, nails digging into my palms. When he walked towards me, thousands of lights lit up behind him, infuriating her. When I kissed him, I bit his lip, tasting blood. He said he likes me, and my mind went blank, only able to repeat, always. Mia, you're out. I want 20, 40 years, a lifetime with him. My forever. July. I peeked at his phone album. 17-year-old Leo putting a birthday hat on Mia, his eyes shining like galaxies. Yet he still looked so good. I cropped Mia out of every photo in his gallery, over 1,000 times. He caught me and watched me snip them with a smile. Wanted to kiss him. So I did. And I want to again. August. He mumbled incoherently with a fever, clutching my sleeve, calling for, "Chloe, Chloe." My hand shook so much while giving medicine, nearly spilling it. I wish I could take his sickness instead. When he's feverish, he's like a child. He pouted again, blurted. He rubbed my palm. "Chloe, you're noisy." No matter how noisy, I'll be noisy for a lifetime. October 2nd, went traveling with Leo. I slammed a "Why see the aurora?" because legend says those who see it together bind their souls. Mia has watched 20 years of fireworks with you, but I want every dawn to have my name inscribed. See? Even the universe is setting off fireworks for us. June. Finished the thesis defense. Roommate asked if she should help destroy the extra thesis papers. I shook my head. He drew a sparrow with a ring on it in the acknowledgement section of my graduation thesis. Tonight I'll frame this page by my bedside. And when I'm 80, I'll point and look. My husband reserved me at 20 tutin, any life winner.